So if you're feeling weighed down by the day-to-day grind, you're definitely not alone. Our next guest says we've become so stressed as a society that sometimes even romance can feel like one more thing to do on your to-do list. Lois Barth is a motivational speaker and coach who is here to talk about the ABCs to stress less and romance more. I love the sound of that, Lois.
I'm so glad you do, Teresa.
First off, what causes all this stress?
Well, I call it, my Loisisms, right?
Sure.
I call it TRS, terminal roommate syndrome, right? You're spending so much time with your partner, but a lot of times it's just running the household or chauffeuring the kids back and forth or planning big occasions, and then you start to think like romance, oh my God, one more thing to do. So it's really about embedding, like I said, the ABCs of bringing romance into your life on a daily basis.
And you're really not talking about planning a special night or anything like that. You want to incorporate this every single day.
Yes, every single day or several times a week.
Sure.
And I'm all for the candlelight dinners, the date nights, but that's not always sustainable on a regular basis.
Sure.
So it's just about making different ways to bring romance into your life.
All right, so we're going to talk about your Lois-isms.
Okay.
Number one, you say appreciate your partner in the way they love to be appreciated.
Exactly. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that.
Yes, please.
I know. Well, one of the things that come up in relationships is people usually appreciate their partner in the way that they like to be appreciated, not necessarily their partner. So, for example, my sweetheart Charlie, right? He is a quintessential acts of service guy. That's how he shows love. So every time, or not every time, but often when he'll do something like wash the dishes or do the laundry, yes, I'm a very lucky lady, I'll go, who's the man? And he's like, I'm the man, woohoo, you know?
That's good, though.
And he loves it. He loves it.
At least you're acknowledging that he did something. And that he's probably bound to do it again.
I could not tell you. He really likes to do a lot of acts of service, you know? And so it's really, some people are gift people.
Sure.
So you give them gifts and they feel appreciated. So it's important to be in their world.
Got it. Number two, Lois-ism, be playful with each other even when you're arguing. That might be tricky to do sometimes.
It is. Well, the thing that's really important, Teresa, is to not let it get to the place where you're really screaming. And if you could start to notice earlier where the triggers start happening. For example, a couple came to me for relationship coaching, and she was always, it was kind of a role reversal. She was always leaving the sponge in the sink, and it was driving him crazy, you know, moldy sponges. So we said, well, how can you add a little bit more playfulness to it? So now, whenever she leaves a sponge in the sink, he goes, sponge alert, warning, ma'am, step out of the kitchen, you know, and she'll just laugh and say, officer, am I under house arrest, you know. So
that's one way to do it?
Yes.
I mean, that would annoy me after a while, so I would probably get rid of the sponge.
Well, there you go, or take it out of the sink, either one.
Exactly.
But I also have a little crazy little...
What is that, Lois?
I know, isn't it, and nobody's going to steal my pen, I can tell you that for sure.
That's true, it has hair.
I know, right. Well, this pen I found, it's like a little rock'em sock'em robot pen. Sure. And before things get too testy between you, you can have kind of an inside joke, and, you know, when you see it getting tense, you...
Break it up, lighten it up a little bit, right?
Lighten up, it's a signal, hey, things are escalating, so let's just take a big chill pill, if you know what I mean.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
All right, lastly, you say create magic from the mundane.
Absolutely. Again, we want to, you know, go against the terminal roommate syndrome. You know, Teresa, one of the most inspiring things for me growing up is my parents were so in love with each other, but they made the magic out of the mundane. So, for example, when my father would come home from work, my mother would go to the door and start clapping and singing like silly songs like, he's a jolly good fellow. And as kids, we were like, oh my God, you're horrifying us.
But it's kind of funny, right?
But he always loved getting home, and my mother would make him a little cheese sandwich, and she'd be like, you're a good cooker and you're a good looker. You know, it's silly stuff, but you know,
it stuck with you.
It stuck with me because they made the day-to-day minutia really magical. And I think people lose sight of that. It doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to take time. Just look at little things, you know, maybe put a long stem rose in a vase.
Sure,
you know,
everything makes a difference there. Lighten up, ultimately, it seems like.
Absolutely. I think that makes a huge difference.
All right, Lois, tell us about your new audiobook, Life is Talking. Are you listening?
Yes. Thank you for asking about it. It's the 3 A's, awareness, attitude, action, towards creating a life you love. And it's really very simple exercises in order to really look at your life as a roadmap for what is and isn't working in your life to move forward.
All right, we're just about out of time, but I know you're going to be speaking at the Young Women's Leadership Network on April 9th. We'll put some information up on the screen. Thanks so much for being here.
So my pleasure, Teresa. Always great to see you.
All right, stay with us. More style after the break. We'll be right back.